Good afternoon everybody, it's story time. Got a little friend here to help me with the story today. I wonder if you can guess which story it's going to be. This is Cyril. He's a squirrel. And he's got a pine cone in his hand. Did you guess? Oh, it's upside down. The Squirrels Who Squabbled. In a towering forest, where summer had been, the cool air bit fresh, and the mosses grew green. And as autumn edged in and the sky raged red, the sleepiest creatures got ready for bed. While up in a tree swung a flighty young squirrel who everyone knew as spontaneous Cyril. Now, most foresty folk had seen to their needs through the plentiful months of mushrooms and seeds. They'd built up their stores so they'd all be well fed through the frosting of winter that glittered ahead. But Cyril, he lived in the here and now. He'd adventured and parted his way through the year, so his cupboards were empty, his hollow was bare. He hadn't a mouthful of food anywhere. But wait, what was that? Over there, take a look. A single lone pine cone wedged in a nook. He squealed with delight, and for very good reason, for inside were the very last nuts of the season. But Cyril wasn't alone. There were more hungry eyes. Yes, plan ahead Bruce had his sights on the prize. Can you see him? There he is, look. Though he'd gathered a mountain of bounty hard fought, Bruce was convinced he was one pine cone short. I simply must have it, he wistfully cried, as he dreamt of the fresh, juicy pine nuts inside. So, as Cyril set off on his way to the ground, Bruce was also a last pine cone bound. But their panic and haste shook the tips of the spruce, and the pine cone, it trembled, and then it came loose. It's dropped. Both squirrels gave chase at a lightning pace. This was the start of a wild, nutty race. And can you see the shadow behind the trees? Wonder what it is? It's mine! Shouted Cyril. No, mine! Hollered Bruce. You don't stand a chance. Give up. It's no use. I'm hungry, cried Cyril. This cone is not yours. Stay back, shouted Bruce. This cone's for my stores. Well, it boinged over bushes and flew through the air, and it binged on the nose of a slumbering bear. Do you remember we've talked about that word slumbering? It means the bear is asleep. It bounced over boulders, and then it came to a stop. Then teetered and wobbled and quivered and plop! Both squirrels followed. Oh, the water was fast. Would they learn that they needed each other at last? But each was intent on how he could win, so they didn't quite notice the bird sweeping in. Cyril and Bruce watched in dismay as their cone disappeared, up, and away. Come back, shouted Cyril. There are nuts, exclaimed Bruce. But all hope was gone. It was simply no use. And meanwhile they drifted right up to the ledge. Greed, it was driving them, this is my favourite page, over the edge. There they are, look, they're falling. Oh dear. Cyril and Bruce They had taken a fall, they were paying the price for wanting it all. They'd squandered their chances to team up and share. Would their nutty young hopes simply end in despair? I hope not. I'm sorry, children. It's a bit of a scary story, this one. Let's hope it's a happy ending. Bruised and bedraggled, they swept past dry land. Cyril grabbed at a branch with a trembling hand. Catching Bruce with the other, he heaved and he huffed, and then he dragged him to safety with panting and puffs. Oh, thank goodness. Well done, Cyril. They stared at the sky, quite lost in deep thought, until Bruce looked at Cyril and let out a snort. Oh, how silly we are, he proclaimed all a jiggle. How greedy I've been, spluttered Bruce with a giggle. We shall change from today. May the squabbling cease. We should celebrate, seeing we're both in one piece. It's a good idea. And from that day on forward, they made a great pair. They would gather together and found, yes, they could share. Yes, Cyril and Bruce, they knew in the end, the best thing to share is a laugh with your friend. And there they are, having a good old giggle on the last page. That was one of my favourite stories. See you soon.